welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for stopping back by. I hope everybody's doing well mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, I guess. I hope everybody's either in a good space or working towards being in a good space. So today is the start of a new segment that I'm calling Mental Health Journals, where I'll just be coming to just give what I'm learning, because I'm constantly looking to better myself in regards to understanding mental health, so we can talk about it, so I'm not speaking from a place of just speaking, so I understand what I'm talking about, and also just a space where we can just catch up. Do you know what I mean? This also means you guys can message me or email me, and then we can talk about whatever it is that you decide is something you'd like me to address. So this will be something I do once a month, just a check-in. So today is the first of this type of segment. It's just a mental health check-in. I'm just checking in to see how everybody's doing, and I'm just hoping that despite everything that's going on, we're somehow still going, we're somehow still pushing, and somehow persevering. But anyway, so today I just wanted to give a breakdown of something I learned recently. I saw a tweet, I think it was, that was just talking about the different ways we speak to our loved ones and the people we care about, and how that should be the way we speak to ourselves. So I've been reading this book called The Game of Life. It's by... I don't know why I do this to myself. I always decide to tell you who it's by, and then I never know the name. I'll link the name and the name of the book and the author at the bottom. It's a really good read. It's called The Game of Life, and the first chapter is incredible. It's talking about how the words we say and the way that we think affects our reality. So one of the quotes I found incredible. She says, "The subconscious mind has no sense of humor." So I know we tend to make jokes about our situations, about whatever it is we're dealing with, and it's a joke, it's a genuine joke, but what we don't realize is what we're saying and what we're thinking affects our reality. So a lot of the times our reality is shaped by our thoughts, alongside prayers, of course, and action that, you know, like working towards something. It's all affected by that, but a big part of which is the way that we think. So a step towards success is the way that you think. You think I'm successful, so I'm going to be successful. More or less the same thing with everything else in your life. So I decided to give a breakdown of 4 different ways we need to speak to ourselves in comparison to the people we speak to who are close to us. So I gave it, I broke it down to your best friend, a child, a stranger, and a love interest. So it's just going to be a quick rundown of the way that we speak to them and how in turn we should speak to ourselves in the same manner. You'll understand as I go along. Hopefully it's self-explanatory. But anyways, right, the way that you speak to your best friend. We tend to be loving, encouraging, and just generally their biggest supporter when we speak to our best friend, and when we treat our best friend. It's someone we love and someone we care about, and thus want to see them succeed. So we support, we love, we nurture. That's how we are to our best friend, no? So I think that when we speak to ourselves and when we treat ourselves, it needs to be in the same manner. You need to encourage yourself. You need to say, "Michelle, I'm proud of you here. Michelle, you're doing great. Michelle, keep going." The same way you do to your best friend. It's important to do that to yourself. When you speak to a child, you tend to acknowledge their fears and whatever it is that they're feeling. If they're hurt, if they're happy, if they're angry, if they're frustrated, if they're scared, we tend to acknowledge these feelings that a child has. So it's important that you acknowledge your own feelings. It's important that you stop and reflect on how you're feeling and acknowledge that I'm feeling this way, and then zero it down to why I'm feeling this way, so as to not find yourself in the same place. Now I'm definitely a culprit when it comes to not acknowledging the way that I feel. I have this very bad habit of invalidating my own feelings because I'm afraid it'll affect the way my relationships are with the people around me. I'm afraid that people will look at me different, and I'm afraid that I tend to like overthink, and I feel like, okay, maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, maybe this is really nothing. But I need to realize that my feelings are valid, and it is important that I pay attention to how I feel and understand why I'm feeling that way. So it's an important trait that you need to train your mind to acknowledge and validate whatever it is that you're feeling. It's not to say dwell on those feelings. It's not to say sit in your anger, sit in your sadness, sit in whatever negative emotion you might have and just savor it and just, you know what I mean, and just let it consume you. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying it's important to acknowledge whatever it is you're feeling. It is important to remind yourself that whatever it is you're feeling is valid, and then in turn deal with it so you can just overcome whatever it is you're facing in that moment. Obviously there's some things that you can't just 1, 2, 3 and it's done. It's not. There's some emotions that are harder to navigate, like grief, some emotions that are not as easily resolved, but those that are, don't dwell on them. Speaking of this, there's a book I'm reading. It's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. I actually know who the author is this time. It's Richard Carlson. It's a fantastic book. I'll link it somewhere. Not link it, I'll show you a picture so you know what to look for. It's such an amazing read. I'm a couple of chapters in, but basically I think it's the first chapter. He focuses on how we tend to zero in on a negative emotion that we have. So this is, again, it's not me talking about bigger emotions that need a lot more work to deal with. I'm talking about small emotions, like just little things, like little things that we let affect our day. And he speaks about how it's often like something that happens in a split of a second, but we let that negative emotion consume our whole day. And that's not what I'm saying in this regard. What I'm saying is acknowledge how you're feeling, acknowledge how someone's actions or someone's words made you feel, and then work towards getting over that feeling. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, the third way you need to speak to yourself is the way you speak to a stranger. I was brought up believing that everybody deserves my respect, everybody deserves my kindness. So when I meet a stranger on the road, my first instinct is to show kindness. My first instinct is to be polite, to be respectful. The same way that you treat that person because you don't know what they're dealing with, you don't know what battles they're fighting in their life, be kind to yourself, be respectful to yourself, be gentle with yourself. And that's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but it's something you need to work towards, because again, this is you that you need to work on. It's making an active effort to become a better version of yourself. And in order for you to do that, you need to understand yourself. And in order for you to understand yourself, you need to reflect. So these are all things that you need to focus on. The last one, which is, I don't know, yeah. It's treat yourself and speak to yourself the way that you would to a love interest. Granted, people love differently, but I think something we can all agree on and all say is fact is that when you have a love interest or someone you love, someone you care about, your significant other, it's easy for you to point out how happy they make you, what it is that they do that you love, what it is they say that you love. It's so easy to focus on the good in that person rather than the bad, but it's the complete opposite when we do it with ourselves. It's so easy to focus on what it is you don't like about yourself. It's so easy to focus on what it is about yourself that's constantly disappointing you. And I think it's time we put a stop to that. It's time you actively make an effort to remind yourself what it is you love about yourself. So it can be physical, it can be an inner thing. So for example, if you think you have beautiful eyes, tell yourself you have beautiful eyes. It's important to develop a self-love that is not dependent on other people's love. You need to be so in love with the person that you are, the person that you are becoming, that anything anyone else says is just the icing on the cake. It's not the foundation. It's not you building your self-love from what someone else is saying. It's you adding on to what you already have. So I think it's something we need to definitely work towards, something that we need to put efforts in, something that we need to actively do. And there's plenty more ways you can look these up, but these are just a few I wanted to zero in on because I thought they were general and I thought they were good. But yeah, that is pretty much what today's video is about. It was just a reminder of being gentle, being kind, and being loving to yourself. Okay, so before we close off the video, I just would like to say that to those whose 2020 and start of 2021 has been tougher on them than the rest of us, I'm thinking of you and I'm praying for you, and I hope that you find healing from whatever it is you're dealing with, whatever it is that you're facing. And believe me when I tell you, you will get through it. It may not seem like it right now, you will get through it. It's okay to feel a little lost. It's okay to be stuck. It's alright. but you will get through it and you will be alright. I don't know when, but I do know that eventually your storm will run out of rain, so please just hold on. The sun will shine back on you very, very soon. God bless you and yours, and I hope to see you back very, very soon.